Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome again to The Drop. I am joined with my homie, Jordan Mitchell. What's up, dude?
What's up, buddy? How you doing today?
I'm great. It's a beautiful day. I've got my new corduroy dad cap on. Circle logo. What do you guys think? What do you guys think?
That.
Not too bad, right?
Looks cool.
Yeah.
And you're a dad. It's a cap.
I'm a dad. It's
It
a cap.
works.
It's perfect. And as discussed before, I need hats. You don't, luckily.
I'm not allowed to wear them.
I'm not as blessed as you.
Dude, I'm getting.
But
the
I have a
whites.
great shaved head. What do you guys think of that? Yeah, not too bad.
Got a good hairline there.
What was once?
Do you ever go just straight bald all the way?
Yeah, sometimes I don't look like the most friendly character walking around.
What if
But
you
dude,
went-
it's refreshing. It feels so nice. Like, have you ever had your head like completely bald or shaved?
I haven't had a buzz cut since I was like 7.
Dude, you like catch a breeze. It's a trip.
My brother always talks about how great it is to buzz your hair, but
I mean, it's freeing. It's freeing. Anyway, welcome guys to the show. As you can see, I put up snowboards everywhere that are kind of completely random, and that's because today we're going to be talking about, well, snowboard upkeep.
yeah.
Also, I like somebody on the last episode noticed all the M3 boards. One person commented on it. It's pretty tight.
sick.
Yeah. So shouts to you. But yeah, so we've got a bunch of different boards out. We've got Forum Street Dwellers, Geniuses. Yeah, this episode's going to be all about like kind of upkeeping your snowboard, maintaining it, what to do during the season, what we do during the season, what you do during the season.
It's different everywhere, all parts of the year, all times of the year. I mean,
Dude, seasonal snowboarding, right? You got to be prepared.
mm-hmm.
All right, let's start with this. What wax do you use? Or do you wax?
I don't want. I kind of use whatever I have. I've been using more on wax lately. The graphite. It's a pretty sick plug. But yeah, I waxed just a handful of times this year because it was so warm that kind of felt like it almost slowed your board down.
One of the things that is interesting, like, so whenever I get a new board, I wax the crap out of it. Like, I put the thickest layer on there
Right away?
right out the box, just because I want it to be just mushed into that base. You know what I mean? And I usually don't scrape it. I usually just like put on a fat layer, and then I'll snowboard a couple days and I'll put on another fat layer, and I'll just keep building it up just to get that base super strong and like thick coated.
Yeah.
This year I did that closer towards the end of the season, bust out a new board, and I was so slow. Thank goodness I brought a scraper with me in my backpack, and I was up there just like trying to get every ounce of wax off the base of my board, because all of the dirt that was melted out through the snow through the season was just like impacting into that wax.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like creeping, like starting from the top of the hill, no turns at all, and stopping before I got to the jump, like full dead stop.
Dang.
Like, yeah.
We
So
had a slush day like that recently too.
yeah, so snowboard and snowboard care is important, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What else do you like to do?
Detune my edges right away.
Ooh.
I have a weird thing where I detune them probably more than I should, but you catch once and you're just like, no, I'm not doing. I don't want to do that again.
There
Do
probably
you do that?
Yes, and there are probably listeners right now that are like, "Oh my god." Maybe there's not. Who knows? But dude, I used to take the angle grinder to it just right off the bat. But I mean,
Do you still do that?
no.
I do a weird thing with the file now where it's like 20 in my head each side, like a certain way, and then flip the board and yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. We're kind of talking about board care, but we're like, yeah, make sure you like we detune our edges.
But you got to detune if you're gonna hit some rails. I feel like you should. I took a board straight to Highland one day, and it was like over carving. Just dude, I hated it. So I had to take it in and just like detune it just even a little bit. I was like, I'm gonna see what this is like, and it's like, dude, no, it's not awesome. Just get between the bindings. That's good maintenance. You don't think so? But you do it.
Brendan. I mean, I think it's personal preference. Brendan Gerard used to just like board slide rails, freaking razor sharp edges, and I was just like, dude, you are a crazy person. Because I'm like deathly afraid of catching. I want to do and I can feel it too. I mean, I am deathly afraid of catching an edge, and so I'm trying to detune those as much as I can. And I would rather. Well, it also depends. Like where I lived in Tahoe, obviously, or riding in Tahoe. I lived in Reno. Not claiming I lived in Tahoe. But that snow there is always like pretty like soft, so you don't need like a super sharp edge, like pretty much ever in Tahoe, right? Because the snow, you just don't need it. Like you could have super dull edges and you get just as much of an edge. But out here, I mean, like I told you the other night, I was riding Highland. It's like a night, like one of the last nights that there was, and I just like icy. Pulled off the rope and just like barely went on edge, slipped right out, freaking right on my butt. I was just like, like, dude, it killed. And I'm still glad I don't have an edge, but at the same time, like that would have been a situation where you wanted an edge. Or if you're like riding out east and all you're riding is ice boarding, like you're probably gonna still want your edges, you know.
Well, that's why I like keep it at the tips. I feel like just leave a little bit of edge up there.
Yeah,
it's kind of like here. It's like usually icy and cold. This winter was just weird.
Yeah, like your contact points.
Yep, you just like I think the line. Where's the board? Like right here. Just past the binding line. That's where I kind of like give it a little, keep it a little soft here, and then keep it sharp up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I focus my energy towards the middle and in between the bindings for sure when it comes to filing boards.
Because if you're too far up, you're nose sliding. You're not even staying on it. So it's like might as well.
Yeah. One thing we kind of haven't touched on is what do you do when, well, in our case, summer's about to be hitting, boards are about to be chilling. What do you do to let your board rest for the summer?
I would do exactly what you do when you straight up get a board and just wax the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Not scrape it, leave it on. Kind of saves the base.
I have a special wax.
What do you do?
Well, I use one ball wax, one MFG, and they make a special wax that's like leave wax. It's like a special just wax that you just like put on. It's for letting your boards just like sit and chill. Like this base has it on there. It's just a clear basic wax that's just there to keep the base moist, you know? You don't want that thing drying out.
Moist.
Yeah. Do you not like that word?
No, it's cool.
It's cool.
It's cool. I don't feel either which way, but I feel like some people get triggered by it.
I know. I don't. Moist is always.
Well, if you start doing it like ASMR style and you're like, moist, people might be like, dude, what the
moist. Yeah, that ASMR stuff sure is interesting.
You just found out about it. It's kind of fun.
I didn't even know what it meant. I still don't know what the acronym is really for.
I don't really either.
It sounds.
But you thought it was like.
Thought it was something dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably kind of is.
And then I like came across these videos and it's like a chick. It's like.
We have the microphones. That's what's like silly.
I know people are getting
like if you could low key like at night just come down,
be doing
go to
my
the studio
snowboard. I know.
You could do snowboard ASMR.
Yeah, I still don't know what it means.
Yeah. something.
I don't know. Those are my.
Let
snowboard
us know
noises.
if you want us to like wax a board ASMR style. We could.
Yeah,
set these
man.
up
First
here.
of all, make sure if you guys have anything to say, make sure you comment on the show, man. Let us know what you're thinking. Yeah. Board maintenance, man. I think it's pretty clutch. You know, I also think that one of the another important part of it is just keeping your board in good shape. Like, you know, if you ding an edge and you need to fix it with some epoxy or fill holes, you know, one of the biggest, obviously the enemy to a snowboard is water. You know, the inside of your snowboard is wood. If that thing gets wet, you're in some deep trouble.
One thing to the last episode you're talking about, if someone were to hit your board, one thought, get some sandpaper and smooth the edges out. Like I kind of do that when I get a board almost right away too. Like I'll just kind of get the nose and tail.
Like the top sheet of it?
Yeah, just the top sheet. So it prevents it from fraying as much.
Oh, really?
You're going to figure out this rope toe stuff,
pro tip.
man. I'm telling you, you will get hit. It will be part
of
the
I don't mind being, getting my snowboard hit doesn't bother me. It's when there's like a person behind you that has zero patience, when there's nowhere to go. They're just, you know, kind of clueless about personal space.
One good thing about COVID was that 6 foot thing. I kind of didn't mind.
I dig it.
People to like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
Stay there. And if you come closer.
At Highland, cool. Like, I hope kids are running. I mean, I don't want them to be running into my board, but at least I get it. Like, everyone's fighting to get into the rope. Everyone's got a thing. Like, but when you're just sitting there waiting for a chairlift to come, and there's like, there's no need for it. Like,
Yeah.
I get it if a kid's mobbing on the rope and he's trying to get in and squeeze in between two kids. Yeah, get in there, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I expect that, and you kind of should, I suppose. But
It's the chaos.
yeah, the chaos is great, man.
I'm telling you, sandpaper. Just get it like
I've never
a
seen.
little bit.
I like my boards looking as pristine as possible, and the fact that I like the idea of like sanding it down.
You could
like,
probably just get the edges though, like just you know what I'm
yeah,
talking
no,
about?
like kind of like
just
how
the
on
edge,
like
not even on the top sheet, like just give it a little bit,
ask me if I'm or tell me if I'm correct here. You mean like when you get a new skateboard and you've just put like your grip tape on the top, and then you take the extra grip tape and kind of sand around the edges to get that little bit off.
Oh yeah,
and smoothing it out, like similar to that.
Yep. Like when I would grip a board, I would do it no razor blade. I worked at a skate shop, so you just and then you just take the edging, but then it never peels up. But yeah, you take that extra bit of
razor
sandpaper.
blade.
No razor blade
At all. Then how do you get through it? You just straight rub it with a screwdriver for that long?
No, you take the file, like a snowboard file.
Oh, a snowboard
you
file.
Can do it. We can do it in like three goes in a spot
On a skateboard.
on a skateboard.
Interesting.
But I feel like that keeps it kind of down over the razor blade. If you do the razor blade, sometimes it can kind of make it pop. This might be a hot take.
Yeah.
I'm realizing.
Pro
But yeah,
tip.
kind of the same thing like on a snowboard. You just give it a little bit of love on the top, just like you would a skateboard.
Just like get some sandpaper and just
a little bit. But you
That
could do
is-
it kind of on the
Oh,
edge,
that just
edge,
sounds so
edge.
cringing to me. I guess. I don't know. I can't imagine doing that.
You should try it on one board. We'll do a test.
All right.
We'll do a test and see whose board lasts longer. We'll run into something.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Well, what other I mean, obviously now you have the binding. So a huge problem that a lot of people have is getting, we call it disco foot, right? Where the bindings are kind of bouncing around a little bit.
Dude, I had that going on this year. It sucked. It'll ruin your day.
Yeah. I mean, well, what do you think causes it? I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of different.
I've heard so many different things. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm having this where it's the same brand of binding to board, where I remember it used to be like, oh, you got Burton bindings on a Rome board. That's why. Like, have you heard that?
Yeah. I mean, in the past, interesting hypothesis.
But yeah, then there's Loctite, and they say it only use a certain color of Loctite that helps.
Blue
I've heard-
Loctite. Yeah,
Is
and
it
only a
blue's the
drop.
good one? Yep, only that.
Then
but
other people, it's too much.
And then if you put double screws or washers, I mean, you can double up on the washers.
Never heard that one.
I just bolt it tighter. But I'm not stoked when it happens.
I feel like a double washer would just make your base, like the underside of your base, just like dimple up even higher because it would be cranking
Yeah, it could
the
be.
insert out more.
It's been a minute. It's been a while since I just cranked it even harder just to deal with it this year when it
Yeah.
happened. But it sucks when it happens.
It's annoying
for
sure.
What's the trick? Do you know? What do you do? Do you Loctite? Are you pro Loctite?
I have never Loctited my bindings, but also like if I ever have gotten disco foot, it's because I'm like swapping between, honestly, I think what it is that most bindings, like there is enough Loctite on it to keep, like if you buy a set of bindings and you buy a board and you mount those bindings to that board, I think they're going to be great for a really long time.
Because it comes with Loctite, right? Like it
Yeah,
does
most bolts are going to have like a little bit of blue Loctite. I'm not sure if they actually use Loctite. I think that's what it is, but I'm not 1,000% sure.
Yeah.
But as it goes in, the friction causes it to kind of mold into place, and then it sits and it stays and it's good. I think that where people run into issues is if they're constantly even if they're constantly trying to tighten their bindings, it's it's moving, so it's resetting and removing the stuff, and eventually it just wears out.
Yeah.
Versus and especially for somebody like you or I who's maybe swapping between boards but using the same bindings all the time. Like naturally, if you're just using that same stuff, that blue Loctite that is in there is eventually going to rub out and wear out, and you're going to lose that. The screw is going to lose that grip that it has when it goes in, and therefore it's easier to loosen out. But
So maybe one good take from that would be just get an extra set of screws and just always have them on hand for when that happens.
yeah, but even a new set of screws isn't going to help unless they're
it
brand
would have
new with Loctite.
That's what I'm
on
saying.
them.
Brand new with
yeah.
Loctite. Just buy the extra little 8-pack or whatever at your store and
Yeah.
keep them with you just because when it sucks or when it happens, it sucks. It's not fun.
Yeah,
I was
it's
even riding
just-
bunny hill with my kid, and I was like,
Yeah.
ugh, I can't even. Doesn't feel like I can ollie right with this, you know.
Well, it's also just annoying because you don't have to be going down to the wrench bench every.
Well, those screwdrivers are always pretty bad.
Yeah, if they're even like a number 3, usually they're just a normal number 2, like the sharp screwdriver. They're not like the fat ones.
Do you remember the Bakota? Someone's got to bring that.
The
That brand is
belts?
done, right? No, like the classic, just the crank.
Oh, yes, I do remember. I mean, I always roll with a tool. I've got 2 tools in my truck.
Do you have
all
that
the
style
time.
of tool, like the actual?
I
It
have
had like a shape, like a hand almost, right?
Well, I remember the one that was kind of shaped like a T.
Like a T. That's
like
what
a
I meant.
T-shaped one.
But it's like thick, like a thumb.
Yeah.
Like you got some good grip on that thing.
And on one little corner, you could like unscrew it, and it had extra
Yeah.
bits in there. Yeah,
Sometimes people put their joints in there.
dude,
I think it was a Tahoe thing when I lived out there.
it could have been. I mean, there's a lot of things that Tahoe does. No, I'm sure everyone.
We could do a whole episode on Tahoe versus Minnesota.
Tahoe, man. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, we could. No, I just use like a fold out. It almost looks like a Swiss Army knife, but one MFG one ball makes like a fold out tool that I use. I've got a couple of them that I just I've got one in my backpack, one in my truck. I even have one on my motorcycle bag on my motorcycle, just so it's just a nice little tool set to have.
I feel like they're nice that style because you can really crank it down like over just a regular screwdriver.
Yeah, I mean, definitely to get a little more
For some
leverage.
reason,
This
when you
one's
have,
kind of
like,
nice.
just
Yeah, this one's nice because it has like a handle still that is like,
And it
shaped like
retracts
that, so you
back.
turn it.
Click, click, click.
Yep.
Click, click, click. Now we're doing.
You don't want to
ASMR.
over tighten though. I mean,
That's true.
you can't over tighten, and that's no bueno. Also,
So don't
But-
over tighten. I think one thing with waxing too, it's really important is to know how to buff and to scrape and use like all these different tools to kind of like corking your board. You ever do that?
I mean, I do. I'm weird. Like
Yeah.
from a street snowboarding perspective, I'm so used to like don't scrape at all because you want to have as much of that wax on as you can because
Save
you're
your
just like
base.
riding a wall or whatever the case may be. But that's also
We're talking
not the
resort
average
boarding for
situation.
the regular.
Yeah.
For like
I mean, I think the best, like, this is actually a little pro tip. This is what I use. This is what I do. I wax, then I do like a light scrape just to kind of get it there. And then I take like your normal, average, everyday, run of the mill sponge, like dish sponge. And it has the 2 sides. It's got like the rougher side and it has the softer side. And then I'll take the rougher side and I'll go through and I'll buff the whole thing with the rougher side, especially where like, the edge marks from the scraper like are. I'll buff that and then I'll flip it over to the smoother. Oop.
jeez.
I'll flip it over to the smoother side and then I'll rebuff it and try to get it as flush as I can. But yeah, just your basic
That's what you do.
sponge from the store.
Maybe
Yep.
I'll try that.
Yep.
I'm a
I was
cork
gonna say, I
guy.
think I might have one over here, but I don't see it.
Do you have a cork? Do you ever use a cork?
I have a
that
cork
you
on
can-
some rub-on wax.
But
But-
you don't have a. I'm telling you, the cork. You
What
can,
kind
like,
of cork?
You can. I think I have a Decine one, but it's just like a little brick, kind of similar to
Yeah.
that. But you go tip to tail, and you can like on warm days, like it's been here in Minnesota. You can take the base. I guess like looking at it like this. I don't know. I wish I had a board to hold in front of me, but you can make lines out to the sides, so that pushes the water off to the sides.
What
And
if you
then
ride
for
switch?
speed, you do it on each side equally.
Oh,
So you go from middle out, and you just kind of spread it out like this.
look at this.
Go
All right.
across. Yep. Telling
Okay.
you, it's like such a game changer.
All right. Well, let's
the hot
how about
days.
this? Let's start to wrap this up real fast. And if you were gonna do a really quick, concise, how to get your board good to go, what's your process? What are you doing? What are you buying?
You asking me, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. Get a board, get what fits, figure that out. Go to your shop; they'll help you out. Go make sure you get bindings that fit. That's pretty crucial. I feel like a lot of people go between that medium to large thing,
Yep.
and it doesn't fit. Make sure your boots are in the bindings; they fit the way they should. You can adjust the high back how you need to. Especially one thing is like adjusting the heel cup to the high back. I think is really important to get that straight. A lot of people don't do that. Which
yeah. Angle their
see-
high backs.
Angle the high backs. It's
Yep.
a tough one to do or to remember to do. I fall guilty to it to not always jump. Like, dude,
Yeah.
set these up. But yeah, I like it out the wrapper. Give it a little scrapes on between the bindings, even if you're not like a jib dude, just a little bit. just to soften
Just
it.
a light detune.
Just a light, a
Yep.
little bit. What about you?
I mean, I recommend an iron. Obviously, find a wax that's best suited for where you live or for the weather you're going to be riding in. Generally, just a nice all temperature wax is usually good.
That's
I
a good
usually throw.
keep that in your bag.
Yeah, I usually throw a little bit of graphite, just like a few drops in the mix with it all. Graphite wax, just to blend it all in. Or I should say, I blend in a little bit of graphite with whatever wax I'm using. Whether it's warm temp, cold temp. Usually I'm just an all temp kind of guy. And yeah, I hit it with a little detune as well. And then if I am waxing, or I'm sorry, not if I'm waxing, but if I'm scraping wax off, I do the full board scrape from end to end. I try not to like stop in the middle.
Yeah.
I try and do whole end to end, in like 4 straight lines or as wide as your scraper is. And then I take the sponge and just smoothing it all out and buffing it out.
Johnny buffing
and
it.
call it a day.
There you go.
Yeah. Usually that's pretty good for me. And I mean, the friction of the snow eventually just smoothens out my base too with from the wax too. So yeah, just depends.
Nice.
But
It's
cool.
a good deal. Bring your little sponge out on the hill with you if you need to give it a little bit more love.
Yeah, I just throw it in the backpack. Usually, like I said, after like 4 or 5 runs, that wax smoothens itself out pretty good.
Yeah. Because I used to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Streetboarding, I would just wax, leave it on, go to the hill, ride a few runs, and it was what it was.
You're good. But yeah, everyone's different. Every board's different. So do what's best for you. I mean, the one crucial thing about snowboarding and the one thing that I love and I think that I hope that everyone kind of takes away is try what's best for you,
Yeah.
Like just because that works for us and just because we like to detune our boards, just because we crank down our binding super tight or whatever we do, doesn't mean that that's what you have to do, Like
True.
you can do, if you don't want to wax your boards, most boards come waxed straight out the factory, so.
But if anything, though, like you being a board collector, you probably see this a lot with old boards. Like I would say, wax your board, right? Just keep it.
Yeah, especially if it's
Keep
just
it
going to be
waxed up
sitting
just a
around.
little bit.
Yeah, especially if you're not really riding it,
Because so many boards get ruined over time. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't even ride that thing anymore.
They
It's
almost get
just
like
so
dry
dried up.
rotted.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
get like that white kind of
Mhm.
line on the outside.
Yep. Yeah, keep those bases not moist. I was trying to
Now
think of
I
a
wanna-
different word.
I want to go wax my board now.
I know it's fun, man. I like doing it, and I like taking my bindings out, and I like adjusting my high backs, and it's like a whole process for me. But
Yeah.
cool, man. Well, anything else?
I think that's wrapped it up for the day, huh?
All right, dude. Well, Jordan, I really appreciate you hanging out. Joining
Appreciate
me.
you, man. This is fun.
Guys, again, The Drop Snowboarding is live. We have a web store. We have links to our Spotify, links to the YouTube, links to Patreon. We have a Patreon now. All the good stuff is there. Make sure you guys check it. Make sure you follow along on TikTok, Instagram, all the good stuff. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Adios.
Later, guys. Have a good one. See ya. Peace.